People vs. Russell Brand, the trial of a fallen icon. He was the wild-haired jester of British pop culture, equal parts comedian, actor, ex-husband of a pop queen. But today, a courtroom becomes the stage for his most serious performance yet. In this gripping episode of People's Court TV, we delve into the unfolding legal saga of Russell Brand, a once celebrated comedian and actor now facing serious criminal charges. Brand stands accused of multiple offenses, including rape, oral rape, indecent assault, and sexual assault, involving 4 women between 1999 and 2005. These allegations, brought to light through a joint investigation by The Times, The Sunday Times, and Channel 4.
He's grabbing at my underwear, pulling it to the side. I'm telling him to get off me, and he won't get off.
Have led to formal charges by the UK Metropolitan Police in April 2025. In September 2023, a thunderclap reverberated across Britain's media landscape. A joint investigation, led by the Sunday Times, The Times, and Channel 4's dispatches, unveiled a dossier of disturbing allegations against Russell Brand. What followed was not a tabloid frenzy, it was a reckoning. 4 women, 4 voices, each one sharing similar encounters with a man they say used charm as a mask and fame as a weapon. The stakes are monumental. Speaking about the charges, Brand has denied any wrongdoing, saying he is the victim of witch hunt for daring to speak out against the mainstream media and the elites of the world. He had the following to say on a video he released on X. "When I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. What I never was, a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity," he said via a tweeted video, in which he also claims the law is being used as a weapon. "I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that." Following the investigation, Brand's former employer, Channel 4, admitted to The Times that a previous allegation against him had not been passed up to more senior managers and that it had not been investigated as it ought to have been in accordance with the procedures in place at the time. They also apologized to the former employee for its failings in handling the complaint and the distress this matter has caused. The in-depth investigation by The Times, The Sunday Times, and Channel 4's dispatches detailed the stories of multiple women, alleging incidents spanning the course of 2006 to 2013 and earlier. Many during the peak of his fame. One said she was a teenager at the time she first became intimate with Brand, and that he would send a car to collect her from school. Brand is a comedian and actor who has always courted controversy. He spoke openly about his sexual prowess and preferences, with many people now suggesting that the comedian hid in plain sight. Subsequent reports have sparked fierce questioning about how much Brand's agents and employers knew about his behavior and whether they enabled and emboldened him. One of Brand's earliest roles was as a video journalist at MTV in 2000, where he presented the dance floor chart. He was fired from the channel in 2001 after he turned up to work dressed as Osama bin Laden the day after the September 11th attacks. He was similarly fired from his radio show on XFM in 2002 after he read pornographic material live on air. It was after Brand went to rehab in 2003 to get clean from an alcohol and drug addiction that he started to have mainstream success. The women. Let's talk about Rachel, an alias since these victims have mostly opted to keep their identity confidential. So how did Rachel meet Russell? Here it goes. Brand was hired to be the host of Big Brother's E-Forum in 2004. A spin-off show to the main action from the house, the program gave ordinary people and celebrities to share their opinion on the housemates. The show was rebranded Big Brother's Big Mouth in 2005. He left the show in 2007. During this time, production staff on the program told dispatches that Brand would point out audience members and ask the runner to get phone numbers. It was like we were taking lambs into slaughter. We were basically acting like pimps to Russell Brand's needs, they said. Rachel was just a runner on Big Brother's eForum, where Brand was a host. She alleges that he exposed himself by flashing her and making jokes about oral sex in his dressing room. The two started a consensual relationship after, with Brand insisting the relationship remain a secret. Rachel says the whole thing was shrouded in secrecy and regret. In her words, she had been groomed for, you know what? Rachel stated she was 24 years old when the incident took place, but fear of her career prevented her from coming forward at the time. I do wish Rachel luck with her case, but I am a little hesitant on whether these claims rise to the level of SA standing alone if we are considering the consensual relationship. Prosecutors do need to convince the jury that the flashing and sexual jokes and innuendos constituted SA and not a less serious offense or inappropriate behavior. Here in California, where I practice, grooming will be considered a crime mostly when the victim was a child and not necessarily when dealing with consenting adults. The law in UK may differ significantly, and thus allowing allegations of grooming an adult woman in a weaker position, especially given the power dynamics here. As an outsider looking in, the testimony of the other victims, if found true, are more damning and likely to support the prosecution's burden of proof. Let me know what you think in the comments section. You know it's bad when all your former employers are rushing to release media statements like this one from Endemol, who bought Big Brother in 2020. We encourage anybody who feels that they were affected by Brand's behavior while working on these productions to contact us in confidence. This case is starting to give Puff Daddy vibes. Brand also had some harsh words from celebrities, though this one was not hidden forever. In an interview in the Daily Mirror from 2006, Danny Minogue described Brand as a bit of a vile predator, adding, "I certainly don't think he has cured his sex addiction." She said that Brand wouldn't take no for an answer. And throughout the whole interview, he kept making shocking remarks that I can't even repeat. Okay, let's go to the next allegation. This time, enter Alice. It was 2006 when Brand allegedly met Alice. Alice is using a pseudonym to protect her identity. Alice was just 16, and Brand, 30 years old. She says he called her the child. Their relationship was hidden from her parents. She recounts emotional manipulation, control, and deception. The picture she paints? A deeply uneven power dynamic dressed up as romance. Alice claims he'd use cars paid for by the BBC to pick her up and ferry her round to his house, and that it was in one of such meetings that he forced her to do some oral things that we cannot fully mention without some risk. I told you they were damning. As for Nadia, she met Brand in LA. She alleges that after refusing a threesome, he essayed her. Her report was supported by a visit to a rape crisis center and a text from Brand that read, "That was crazy and selfish. I hope you can forgive me." For Phoebe, their paths crossed at Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. She worked for him. One night at his home, she claims he turned violent. She escaped, but not before, she says. He threatened her if she ever spoke out. Jordan wrote about her experience in a 2014 memoir. She described Brand as emotionally and physically abusive and accused him of a violent sexual assault. He never challenged the claims. These aren't whispers in the wind. The journalists behind the investigation combed through text messages, emails, therapy notes, and corroborating accounts. In the court of public opinion, the evidence is mounting, but in the court of law, that bar is higher. But what took so long? Why now? The answer lies in media courage and societal change. In the post-Me Too era, silence no longer guarantees safety, and celebrity no longer guarantees immunity. On May 2nd, 2025, Brand appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court in London, where he confirmed his identity during a brief hearing and was granted conditional bail. His next court appearance is scheduled for May 30th at the Central Criminal Court, known as the Old Bailey. Beyond the UK proceedings, Brand faces a civil lawsuit in New York, alleging sexual assault during the filming of the 2010 movie Arthur. Warner Brothers has agreed to release up to 8 hours of outtakes from the film as evidence. Brand's legal team has expressed concerns that his testimony in the US case could impact the UK criminal proceedings. But what happens now? British courts handle sexual assault cases with intense scrutiny. These trials are often held with limited public access to protect victims. Judges may order anonymity, and juries are rigorously vetted. The stakes? Colossal. The Crown Prosecution Service must prove, beyond reasonable doubt, that Brand committed these acts. The defense will likely focus on consent, credibility, and motive. And the public? They'll be watching every frame. Russell Brand was never just a comedian. He was chaos personified, an anti-establishment voice, a recovering addict, a spiritual podcaster, and self-styled philosopher. But this persona now faces its own cross-examination. Since the allegations surfaced, Brand has denied everything. He called the investigation a media attack and framed it as a war against free thinkers. In a video statement, he said, "I welcome the opportunity to prove my innocence." His YouTube channel has continued but got demonetized. As usual, brands and platforms have distanced themselves. TikTok demonetized his account. Publishers hit pause, and the court of public opinion remains divided. But will any of this spectacle make its way to a conviction? Or will the performance continue in another venue? The People's Court isn't done yet.
Were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well.
From the view of some parts of the public, it appears as though this case is about power and how hard it is to hold powerful people accountable. It may also be about the systems that fails to listen and the voices that sometimes break through. With the level of investigative journalism displayed here, I do not see a way out of these challenges for Brand, but I will keep you posted. What can I say? The People's Court follow the story and let you decide which side is right in the end. This is People's Court TV, where justice is a conversation. Subscribe, share, and stay tuned, because the next case might just be the one that changes everything. Until then, this is your host Chomsky reporting for People's Court.